Hal? What are you doing, Hal?
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
Stuff we remember, right? That's how we should start the podcast. I think I will.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to JKWD Podcast. This is Hal, and I cannot open the bay doors. Sorry, Dave.
You know, to think randomness of things we come up with on a daily basis, and there are no drugs or alcohol involved.
It's not true. There are definitely drugs involved.
Uh-oh.
Caffeine is a drug, sir. And
I'm sorry.
We're both caffeinated.
I disagree.
Okay.
Forget science. Get away from the periodic table. Forget that molecular structure. Caffeine is heaven. In a chocolate-coated cup.
I better start talking because otherwise you're going to say more stuff that's going to make me ask more questions, and this is going to go somewhere else.
You see what happens when I'm in a good mood? No. Nay.
That's if you're not in a good mood and you'd like to be in a good mood, you can try coffee, or you can try a hot beverage alternative such as bone broth, which you can pour in a cup, stick in a microwave for 45 seconds, and you have some delicious fuel for your day without the goofiness of caffeine. Our friends at Kettle and Fire want to give you 10% off. So if you go to kettleandfire.com, that's kettleandfire.com. When you go to checkout, use the code BetterHumanhood. They will give you 10% off. How do you like them apples? That's kettleandfire.com, where you can buy soups and bone broth, but not apples or coffee. 10% off with the code BetterHumanhood. We better play the music or it's going to get worse.
Podcast, where we talk about better humanhood and teach you how to dominate your world. You ready? Here we go.
Good morning, Mr. Shear.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Sounds like it's been a good week where you're at.
I've had a good week. I'm in a good mood. And plus, as usual, we've been on the phone here on the computer here for like an hour plus already. So
yeah,
we've been primed. We've been primed and ready. But actually, it is an actual beautiful day here. The sky is blue. There is snow on the ground. I mean, in places. It's cold, but it's awesome, and having the sun is good because that's why you left. So, because we didn't have enough of it.
Yeah, it's true.
Plus the cold, yeah. It's a nice day. So,
and it turns out that it is gray here today. We had a nice week. It was in the 80s this week. So it is thinking about being spring, which is fine with me.
Let me see. This is upstate New York here. It's the middle of February. It ain't thinking about spring here. Nah. But it's February 14th.
It is. It's Valentine's Day as we're recording this.
Today, yes. But we did that issue.
Yeah. So it'll be far enough in the future when this comes out that you might not remember what you did for Valentine's Day, or you might.
Or, as they say in Laughing, never mind.
But we time travel here, and so today is a day filled with love as we're speaking, and coffee and laughter.
Yes.
And I went to the grocery store this morning. My sainted wife requested steak and mashed potatoes for dinner, so I went and I got some steak and some potatoes to cook this evening.
Mm-hmm.
And just the aisles were full of men with vacant stares looking at cards and flowers and chocolates, and like they totally forgot, or they're like, oh, this again. And it's like zombie dudes at the grocery store.
Ooh, that'd make a good movie. Valentine Zombies. Oh, let's call Stephen King. We want to do that.
Yeah, I want to do this. Anyway, on a different note, you just talked to your friend Cynthia Handel on
Yes.
your podcast.
I did.
That'll be about a week and a half ago when this comes out. But if you go to intensivepositivepodcast.com, episode 77, you'll hear from Cynthia, who spent a couple of years in the Peace Corps. And she was talking at the end of the podcast about the creation of the Peace Corps. And I don't think it was anything you asked her. I think it was just something that she was mentioning.
Yes.
And that Kennedy created the Peace Corps because when parts of the world that are often at war are at peace, that's better for us because we don't have to worry about resources. Us being the U.S., and other countries too.
Yeah.
But
if you're not at war,
like a place, but like if a place that you usually get your, oil or your produce from, or if you get lots of import from somewhere, if they're not at war, it's easier for you to get your stuff, and it's easier for you to get your stuff at a better price.
Especially if you're not the one that they're at war with.
Right. So it got me thinking about the book Abundance by Peter Diamandis and Stephen Kotler. They have a new book out, by the way, which I'm looking forward to reading. It's called The Future is Faster, and I have a copy. I just haven't opened it yet.
The future is who?
The Future is Faster Than You Think.
Oh, okay.
So I'm looking forward to thinking about to getting into that. But one of the things that they write about in Abundance is like the bottom of the pyramid. The bottom of the pyramid being people who are poor, resource poor, and needing things like clean water and healthcare and things like that. And what they point out is that if you're constantly thinking about how to get clean water and how to get your food needs met, get enough food for you to have energy for the day, because food is fuel, then once you satisfy those needs, then you can start thinking creatively about not only art, when I say creatively, but innovating for the world. If you're spending your day walking back and forth carrying buckets of water from the river 4 miles away, you're not thinking about how to cure cancer, and you get more people thinking about how to cure cancer will get cured, right? And you want to bring it to a more U.S. centric thing. If you're working 60 hours a week to keep the lights on at home, you're not thinking about anything else. You're just keeping the lights on and then trying to get enough rest in between going to work. Maybe you're trying to spend 10 minutes with your kids before you get some sleep. That's the bottom of the pyramid. When you bring the bottom of the pyramid up, the top of the pyramid also comes up. So, while in terms of monetary resources, the rich will frequently get richer. Their lives don't change much. But when you get more people thinking about the world's problems and innovating on things like that, then you wind up like really solving problems and advancing the future. And we talked to they came up with the point about oranges, right? If you have an orange tree, you go out there, you pluck all the oranges you can reach. Now you've got a shortage of oranges, and somebody invents the ladder. Now you've got plenty of oranges again because you can climb up the ladder and get more oranges. Somebody invented that thing you were saying off the podcast. Somebody invented a shaker.
Yeah, I was like,
now you can share oranges.
Does that actually exist? It was a off the cuff comment. Yeah,
but maybe it does. Yeah,
they just shake the whole tree and they just fall. Yeah,
or there's at least some mechanism to get oranges off the trees faster so that they can be shipped out, because we're not just people who are growing oranges aren't just sharing it with their community anymore, not just their family, and they're not just selling it in the community, they're selling it across the country and probably across the world. I don't know if people get US oranges elsewhere, but you can at least get California oranges here in Georgia. You're in a place that oranges basically never grow, but you can get oranges year round.
Yes.
Same with bananas. Bananas don't grow
locally
anywhere near Syracuse.
Nope.
But you not only can get all the bananas you want whenever you want, they're not expensive.
Yeah, I was going to say they're cheap. Even the organic ones.
Yeah, even the organic bananas are like 60 cents a pound.
Something like that.
Probably.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just throwing those thoughts out there about coming from the bottom of the pyramid, trying to work your way up. What do what does that spur for you? In terms of helping the world get better?
Well, I mean, if we find a way for those folks to create income, to be able to do more things. I mean, you've got the capacity for people to work. Now, work's changing a lot these days.
Sure.
And it is true with Maslow's hierarchy. I mean, really, if you're if you're looking to be able to just survive the day, you're not being creative for the world. But I think it's in a way, it's kind of the concept of, everybody should have a small business, because things get better for you as a small business. I mean, there are deductions you can have for having a small business, and it also determines your concept of business. But
well, I mean, not everybody has an entrepreneur mindset, but
entrepreneur mindset. I mean, people make stuff,
right?
And true, not everybody, but enough do or could that it could ease up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, and I mean, in terms of deductions, I think there, especially in the U.S. here, there are very much tax incentives for people to ask their employers to 1099 them instead of having having them on as W-2 employees. Yeah, that doesn't work. That doesn't work for me because as a 1099 employee, I wouldn't get health care, and they work pays 80% of my health insurance.
Right.
And they're not going to give me an 80% raise to cover that if I were to go to a 1099.
Those dogs, yeah. So, yeah, but it's true. You have time. When I was first in the MLM world back in the day, one of the things that some of those folks were saying was we owed it to ourselves and the country to find a way to become successful and to, create wealth. Because if all we were doing was spending all our time in a job 60 hours a week for so, like you say, we didn't have time to pay attention to what was going on in the world.
Right.
So there was, I heard a concept once, I don't know what it was called, basically that said, if you keep the people angry and fighting amongst themselves, they won't have time to pay attention to what we're doing in the government, and we can do what we want to do. Um, and unfortunately, sometimes that seems to be the case when you look at how much is going on. But if we're speaking specifically of economic development, really, it makes sense that everybody can have clean water and everybody can live. And, then we can have healthy people. We don't have to spend the money we spend for drugs and medicines and stuff because people, are more healthy. Now, that's a big problem, obviously.
Right. Well, and, not everybody, even once you take out you pull back a step and say, you talk about having to pay for drugs because people aren't healthy. A lot of people can't afford drugs. I mean,
right.
I know in a lot of the world, drug prices aren't what they are in the U.S. They're a lot cheaper because of the regulations there.
Mm-hmm.
But we basically pay for the R&D here.
That too.
So when we talk about Maslow, you mentioned the hierarchy of needs.
Mm-hmm.
It's that basic stuff on the bottom. The top of that pyramid, the top of Maslow's pyramid, is, does he call it self-fulfillment?
Self-actualization.
So actualization. There we go. Where it's like you're not, if you're working 60 hours a week plus to pay the bills and feed your family, you don't feel fulfilled as a person. You're just getting by. Maybe you are meeting your basic needs, and maybe you're meeting more than slightly more than your basic needs, but you're not waking up feeling full of life and energy. And,
you're not contributing much to the world in that state.
Right. And that's, we were talking before we started recording about the Dalai Lama.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, he's so full of joy.
Yeah.
He is he is absolutely the top of the pyramid, the top of, but, from a financial standpoint, I don't even know if he's allowed to make money. He's not allowed to go home.
Mm-hmm.
He's not allowed to go back to Tibet. They'll arrest him and put him in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't pick being the Dalai Lama. He was born and somebody was like, "You're the Dalai Lama. You're the next Dalai Lama." And that's just how his life has been. But he's been able to survive, by speaking and writing books and teaching. And he is just so happy.
Yes.
We got.
I had the opportunity to see him a few years. I think. 2009.
I was there as well. Like we were both.
Yeah.
We were both there separately. And
and,
but that guy is just so full of life and joy and happiness.
Right.
And it's so contagious. His laugh is great.
It is. He filled up the dome with laughter.
Yeah.
Just laughing. Because he don't speak English.
If you but he has to fill that. He had to find the bottom of that pyramid,
right, to
get there. Right. He has to have clean water, and he might not require a lot of food, but he has to have enough food to survive on, and he has to get those bills paid, even if he doesn't have much in the way of bills. If most of it's being donated,
right.
In order to be him, and in order to get to feel that joy and express that joy. And I feel like there's enough of that available in the world.
Yeah.
if we were willing to share it. There's not a finite amount of awesome in the world. If we don't. Thomas Jefferson once said, if I use my candle to light your candle, my light is not diminished. Now we both have flame.
Right.
Same thing. Like, if for you to be more awesome, I don't lose awesomeness.
Right.
For you to be better, I don't have to suffer.
Right.
And in order for me to be better, you don't have to suffer.
Don't have to. Now, a lot of people will work on translating that the other way. But the fact of the matter is, helping other people up helps everybody.
Yeah. So,
and I'm not talking about just handouts. I'm talking about, methodologies for handling life, ways to think that keep you from being depressed and forlorn all the time, because those things help give you energy and focus and direction to do something higher. And most of us, or a lot of us, don't really feel we have any power. So helping people understand the power they have is very important.
For sure. And not only helping them understand it, but to see it and to allow them to have it. Don't take showing them their power as your don't take credit for don't take credit for it, and don't hold it over their heads.
Right.
If you show somebody power, they don't owe you anything out of that power.
Right.
That's how we grow as a society, and that's how we get more awesome in general. And that's an abundant mindset. And
Marlena's
holding onto the microphone. And I know we have a clean diaper and we've got plenty of food in us, so I think she just wants to see your pretty face, Kelvin.
Is that what that is? Well, don't deprive her. Don't deprive her. Hey, how you doing? Well, that's not a smile. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't.
But yeah. So abundance. Yeah, it's a mindset, but it's also a reality of the world. And the opposite of it, we should mention the opposite of abundance is scarcity. And so many of us come in with a scarcity mindset. I'll never have enough. I'll never be enough. If that guy's good, he's got some of mine. Like the reason that somebody's doing so well is because I'm doing so badly.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I'm doing so badly is because somebody's doing so well. No, that's is not true.
That's not true. No. There's more than enough.
Yeah.
But the other part of that is, getting people to see that that's a piece of the possibility.
Yeah. And, you gotta seize what you can, but there's plenty for everybody. And in fact, there's way more than enough for everybody.
So that's the other message we got to get out there.
Yeah.
That's part of the better humanhood. Not just being a good person, but being able to help other good people.
Yeah. I think that was a long, convoluted way of getting to that, but we got there.
Well, you had some distractions.
A little bit. But I think we're doing all right now. But if we didn't say it, up at the top. Definitely go listen to that episode with Cynthia Handel, because it'll be linked in the show notes, of course, at jkwdpodcast.com. But she talks not only about her experience, but the beginning of that episode, she talks about looking at the website for the Peace Corps and wondering how many times she was going to download the application before she filled it out.
Right.
So if there's something that you've been thinking about doing, eventually you're going to have to do it, because your brain's going to keep telling you to do it. So make it happen for yourself.
And that was a good age. That was kind of fun. And talking also, we have a lot of stuff on TV about working with people in other countries, and poverty and sadness and all that other stuff, when that's not necessarily all that's going on over there. So part of the reason I wanted to interview her was the fact that, how are the people? How are they doing with the things that they have? Do they have internal joy anyway without all this stuff? And it was a very enlightening conversation as far as that was concerned. So, it's always good to see the other side of that coin.
Right. Okay, so I think we got there. And thank you for listening. Kelvin, thank you for being here, even if you're looking at my backside right now in the video. Everybody, if you want show notes for listening to every other episode, hit jkwdpodcast.com. And visit our friends at Kettle and Fire. Get yourself 10% off by using code BetterHumanhood when you go to checkout. And we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. Show notes and more at jkwdpodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your friends, and we will see you next week. Bye! A Better Humanhood production.